Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Wellstoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Wellstoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble when asking for a quote, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy. How are we all doing? This is the warm-up. And to be honest, because it may you now, it's up to you to decide whether this is due to a scheduling error or it's a clever plan. But you can only catch this episode of the warm-up on YouTube. So if you're here, you're here. If you're not here, then you're going to have to catch us later, aren't you, I'm afraid? We're not on X tonight. We're not on Facebook. We're not on LinkedIn. We are just here. So thank you to everybody that's joining us. And the numbers will continue to hopefully pour in, as what tends to happen, because it's one of those sort of residual things that builds up as we go on. But we're here. Well, the warm-up is usually to get ready for the next game, which is absolutely what we're going to do. I don't have a Ramble rundown this time from a Bristol City channel. Couldn't get that to us in time, unfortunately, which is disappointing. But we will likely get a view from the mountain before the game, and he usually gives us a fantastic breakdown of what we can expect from our Oppo anyway. I have got a Born to be Wilder for you. But how is the championship looking? Look, Sean, one of our Platinum Ramblers, put in the group earlier today that he will argue with anybody that the championship is the best league in the world for entertainment. I cannot agree more. And I know we're trying to get out of it in a football sense in terms of our club building and continuing to get bigger and better. And you have to strive to be the best. But this league is absolutely unbelievable. The highs, the lows. Today, obviously, we won yesterday. We did our bit, did our job that we needed to do, made harder work of it than we probably needed to. Burnley went and won 4-0 in the end. Again, I could pick that performance apart personally, but ultimately, a 4-0 win is a 4-0 win. You can, I can try and pick it apart, but you've just got to sort of hold your hands up sometimes and say fair play. So we're over to Leeds today, and I think playing second when you are being chased is always tricky. So they will probably lean into that being a disadvantage to them, but they played a very tough Portsmouth team. We know all about how tough this Portsmouth team are. Portsmouth beat us, or should have beat us, and we ended up nicking it at Bramall Lane. They were a very good side, and they deserved to beat Leeds today. They beat them 1-0. Thought Leeds were described in our watch-along as mediocre by their standards and brilliant from Portsmouth standards, and I think that's probably about right, because I don't think Leeds were poor, to be honest. I mean, Leeds fans will say that they were likely because they've seen a lot better performances this season. But it was a tight game. It was really enjoyable. Myself and George Motson watched that earlier today, live from Filey, from my end. So that was good. But yeah, so the other thing it does, obviously, it draws us level on points with Leeds. They have got a considerably better goal difference, which definitely counts for a point. We're not going to catch Leeds' goal difference. They're 26 goals better off than us. That's gone. They consider them a point in front. Burnley are also something like 14 goals better off than us due to a couple of really strong results against Plymouth and now against Luton and against the Wendy's, who, you know, were absolutely useless against them after the first 20 minutes. So the goal difference and the extra points have got, we need to finish mathematically above these. We have one more points than anybody in this division. Bear in mind, we are technically the best team in this division. We're only second due to a -2. So there's that to take away from it. The other thing that I take away from it is I give my own head a little bit of a wobble, because I came on last night for 90 after 90. And thank you to everybody that joined me. We've got a new split format for 90 after 90. It's where we'll do immediate match reaction in the first half, and then we have a little break, usually about 10 minutes, because it's never a full half time, because we like to go again on the hour. So we went again at 8 o'clock and spoke to some of our ramblers, got some more comments from Blades and things, and even other fans from other places in the chat. But anybody that watched that will know that I was a little bit not negative, because I never like to be negative. I'm always quite a positive. I'm quite a nervous fan. So like these squeaky bum times at the end of the season aren't good for me in terms of my heart rate and things like that. But I always want to be honest and open. So I'm conscious that we have built together a good platform here where a lot of people's views get listened to, and that's what I want. I want a back and forth, not just you hearing my opinion, but you having yours as well. But I'm also conscious that I can sometimes influence the way people think in terms of, if you're on the fence, if you're 50-50, I can try and put an argument forward for why we should be positive. And that's what I usually try and go down. And last night, I was probably leaning towards, why aren't we putting teams away? Why aren't we doing that extra little bit more? We're outperforming teams most games, and we still end up struggling in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Well, today shows, and it's just one example of many that we've seen, how hard this division is. Because everybody expected Leeds to win today, me included. Anything was a bonus. We said that going in. Nobody had it on the coupon that Portsmouth would definitely turn up and beat Leeds. But it's the Championship, and anybody can beat anybody. Portsmouth outplayed us at Bramall Lane. And I think if you say anything different, then you saw a different game to me, or you saw trying to deny how good they were. Portsmouth outplayed us, and we came away with 3 points. And there's a skill to that. Yes, it's fortune, and loads of different factors play into it. But when we're having a go at our manager, our players, and not having a go, because we haven't done that a lot this season, but even to pick it apart, I think it's worth a conversation. You know, I'm regularly, whenever Jack Robinson has a 6 out of 10 or below, I'm all over him. And you know that. And some people go at me for that, and I understand it. I think it's within our rights to complain when we're not happy about something. A lot of people are saying Tom Cannon's not been good enough. A lot of people questioning Wilder with substitutions. But when you strip everything back and think about it being as a team effort and a collective effort, players, managers, squad players like Sam McCallum and things like who don't start, but he comes on, whether you think he were decent yesterday or not, he has been decent in games gone by. It has been a fantastic season for us, and it continues to be. 10 games left. 10 left. So after this one, this really tricky one against Bristol City, and let's not lose sight, it is a really tricky game. Single digits. We're in single digits then. And it is good. They're ticking off quickly now, and there's still a long way to go. 30 points to play for, and there's 3 between the top 3. There's 2, sorry. There's two points between the top 3. We're on 76. Burnley are on 74, I think. So let me know how you're feeling. I'm going to get into some of your comments. Then I'll get into my team for the weekend, who I'm going to play. I recorded this last night in terms of me Born to be Wild, because I've already released it on Behind the Ramble. So you may or may not have seen that. Will starts us off 5-0. See you later. Then same against the Pigs. Thank you. Up the Blades. Up the full time. Top man, Will. But that's a key thing to point out into it. We're not focusing on Sunday yet. We're not even looking at Sunday. This is all about Tuesday, getting the team in front of us out of the way. Like we did with Preston. We don't look to Bristol or Bristol City already. We focus on Preston. It's a really tough ask, this, and we'll go into that a little bit more. Liam says, evening, pal. Hope you're well. Still buzzing after yesterday, and even more so because of the result today. They celebrated the title too early. Look forward to Bristol, but I think we could see some changes. Up all the Rambles, please like and subscribe. Well, if you think about it, Liam, we might see, and he's definitely alluded to that. But I think we've got a team that more or less picks itself at the moment, maybe other than defence. But and he brought some players off quite early yesterday. So does that maybe allude to the fact that we'll go with a similar team to the one that started against Preston? He went unchanged, didn't he? Previously. So be interesting to see. I'm not convinced we'll get a lot of changes personally. even though he has sort of hinted that. Unless it's injury-based, because I know Vinny went off early. Gus took a whack. Ricky from Just United says, hello, Mr. Jim. Call me Ricky the Oracle. I sensed the downfall of Leeds. Still 10 games to go. Got a feeling the -2 will play a bigger part than expected at the start of the season. I will say this. I love the journey, though. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man. Yeah, the journey is so much better than the destination, Rick. Yeah, absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Good evening, Jimmy says, positive Jack. Good 3 points yesterday. Now Leeds dropped points. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still need to do our job. And this one won't be easy. Need to step up the attacks. These are in form. I think we will see some rotation in mind for the 16th. Speed up the tactics and hit them hard and put away our chances. I do believe this will take a big performance to win. I completely agree. It will take a big performance to win. And I'm not convinced we will rotate. We've got a long break after the game on the 16th when we play those people. So asking him to go one more time against the Wendy's is fair. I think it's a Sunday game. You've got a little bit of a longer break between. Unless the medical team, which is obviously what Wilder's alluded to previously, that he leans on heavily, unless the medical team is saying, no, don't do this, don't do that, I wouldn't be surprised to see an unchanged lineup if everyone were fit. Aragorn says, to be fair, Liam, most of us Leeds fans weren't celebrating the title. I think some banter, but all of us know what Leeds can be like at times. I think a draw might have been fairer today, but we move on. I think you'll beat Bristol City comfortably, but I'm excited for the Steel City derby. Leeds aren't the only ones who can fall apart. Little winky face there. Truthfully, I prefer 2 Yorkshire clubs to go up, all banter aside. Yeah, me too. Me too. David says, oh, what a great Sunday before the game. I post saying we're going to hammer these, watch and learn, and still waiting. Like and subscribe, up all the rambles, up the mighty Blades, says David. Ricky says, we have to be smart against Bristol. They'll be looking to turn us over. And at this stage of the season where points are so valuable, we have to be at our best. They're looking a strong team. They're a good, strong team. Absolutely right. I agree, which is why I think we'll go as strong as we can. 30 points left to play for. If we get a result against Bristol City and Coventry, I have full confidence we'll be champions. Steve Holmes, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Says, have you had any conversations with Connor? No, not yet. Not yet. I've left him to it. And I hope the favour is reciprocated if we have a similar wobble. I think we've both this season and recently as well, to be fair, experienced a kickback of an immediate reaction. So I'm not going all in on it. I'm just letting it simmer because before Battle Lines on Thursday, we play Bristol City and they play Millwall on the Wednesday. So we've got a chance to go clear of them at the top, put more pressure on to try and get back in contention. So there's still a little bit to go. But I will certainly be speaking to him soon. Don't you worry about that. Joe says, all jokes aside, congratulations to Leeds and Connor for winning the league in February. I can genuinely see us and Burnley in the top 2 come May. 3 points Tuesday is massive. It's a big... It could go anyway, couldn't it? I think it's a very big statement to say Leeds will drop after everybody's been saying how good they are, me included. I think a lot of us think Leeds have been the best performing side, or certainly the best side on the eye over the season so far, certainly over the last 8 to 10 games. It's just going to be so interesting, isn't it? Because you can see an argument for all 3 teams making the top 2 and all 3 teams dropping out at some stage as well. Joseph's playing before Leeds is massive. Yeah, they clearly coped well with the pressure put on them yesterday after the Blades and Burnley win. But Millwall are no mugs either. Yeah, true. Evening, Jimmy says, Ev, I like your team, but for me, I'd rest a few players for the big one. Why is this not the big one? Because if we drop points here, we're behind the 8 ball again, aren't we? We're massive. We're chasing again. We cannot let up at this stage of the season, Ev. In fact, now that you've mentioned, you've obviously seen my team. Let's have a little look and see what I've gone with, and you can let me know what your teams are below. So this is Born to be Wild. Born to be Wild. Tell. So this is Born to be Wilder, and this is my team for the tricky visit of Bristol City on Tuesday night. Okay, let's do this. We're going with Michael Cooper in goal, of course. Another clean sheet for him last time out against Preston. Can he do the same again? You'd have every confidence that he could. What a goalkeeper this man is. We're sticking with the 4-2-3-1. And as we speak, we haven't had any updates from Chris Wilder, so we don't really know about fitness issues within the squad, where people are in terms of being up to speed and things like that. So I'm going with Hamza Chowdhury back at right back. Last time out against Preston, I did want Femi Sariki to start. I'm pleased that he got half a game. I think the opposition suited him in terms of they would be within themselves a little bit and he would have the chance to push on. As it turned out, when we went in front, they actually started turning the screw a little bit and exposed him a little bit in terms of his defensive frailties. Hamza Chowdhury offers you a bit more solidity in there. And although I think he played better second half in central midfield, I think he's our safest option at right back at the moment from the players that we know are currently fit. Next to him, I'm going Rob Holding. He's yet to put a foot wrong whenever I've seen him in a Sheffield United shirt. And I just think he's one of our best two defenders. Jack Robinson had a couple of hairy moments, I thought, on Saturday. Rob Holding, we keep saying, hasn't come here to sit on the bench. Well, that's all he's done so far. Give him a chance to play. Ideal game for him, this. Rob Holding starts as right centre-half in my team. And alongside him is Anel Ahmedhodzic, who can play both sides quite comfortably. Now looking a lot more confident in bringing the ball out of defence, getting forward again. Something he does really well, particularly at this level. Great to see Anel come back to form, and he certainly gets in my team too. As does left back Harrison Burrows, who was my man of the match against Preston. I know we got a little bit of kickback in some of the comments in terms of his positional play and not anticipating the space in front of him. I thought he had a very good game. And the cross that he put in for Tyrese Campbell for the winner against Preston was absolutely sublime. Hopefully this kid's our left back for years and years to come, because I think he's fantastic. Harrison Burrows completes our defence against Bristol City. I'm hoping the big man, Vinny Souza, is fit and able to play. It's going to be a huge blow if not, because it could disrupt the entire team selection. We might be going with a makeshift right back and putting Hamza Chowdhury in the middle if Vinny can't play. But I'm sticking with Vinny Souza and hoping that he can play, just going off the evidence that Chris Wilder said he'd certainly be fit to be in contention on Tuesday night. So Vinny starts all day long when he's fit and available. One of the first names on the team sheet, as is his partner now, Siddy Peck. Siddy Peck had another outstanding game against Preston. This was a lot of your shouts for man of the match, and I can't grumble with that either. I think he's looked really, really strong the last few weeks. I'm more than happy for Siddy Peck to start in this team. And we said last time, didn't we, it's starting to pick itself a little bit from the base of the midfield forwards. And that team includes Gus Hamer on the left-hand side. Bit of a game of 2 halves for Gus. I know he took a couple of knocks in the game. I thought it was very good first half, a little bit patchy second half before he got brought off. But this man can do things on the pitch that no one else can. There's always a chance he can spark something out of nothing for you. Gus Hamer starts on the left-hand side for me in my team. On the right-hand side, it's Ben Brereton Diaz, who I think looks like he's getting more and more confident in this position every time he plays. I still think his favoured position would be off the left, but he's doing a fine job on the right-hand side. His outputs have been very strong, and he continues to be a very good player for us at this level. Ben Brereton Diaz is my right forward in my team. And in the middle, it's Callum O'Hare, number 10, the man who never stops running. Slight bit of underappreciation, I think, in some of the comments, which again is everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I think this man helps us transition from midfield to attack really well. He's an absolute nuisance to the opposition, drags men out of position. His integral play with both Brereton Diaz on the right, Gus Hamer on the left, the way they interplay is really, really good. He also works well with our striker, Tyrese Campbell, who will have been frustrated with the first 20 minutes or so, maybe in the first half of football against Preston, but eventually got his goal, and it was well deserved. How good has this man been this season? Currently, our main striker, it's fair to say, keeping out a £10 million man out of the team. Kiefer Moore also back and ready to step in should Tyrese's form dip at all. What a really strong position for us to be in going into the final 10 games of the season. So this is my team. It's Michael Cooper in goal, Hamza Chowdhury at right back, Rob Holding coming in and maybe even taking the armband at right centre back, Anel Ahmedhodzic on the left of the pairing with Harrison Burrows at left back. Vinny Souza and Siddy Peck are my midfield pairing. We've got a destroyer and somebody who can break the lines a little bit with a tough tackle and transitional play through the middle. Out wide, we've got Gus Hamer on the left-hand side, cutting inside. We've got Ben Brereton Diaz, who likes to run directly on goal, on the right-hand side. Callum O'Hare, who can switch it up either side with them and sort of backfill and cause chaos with his mazy runs and high press. And then up front, we've got Tyrese Campbell, who may not have appeared to have been firing on all cylinders on Saturday, but still got the only goal of the game. the match winner. We're going to have to be a little bit more clinical, I think, against Bristol City to get the result. But this team is good enough for 3 points on Tuesday night. And that is my team. I'm confident in it. But let me know whether you agree, whether you disagree. Am I harsh on dropping Robinson? I'm sure some of you will think I am. Do you rotate more players? Am I being too optimistic in thinking both Gus and Vinny will be fit and we have to think of an alternative? Are we just going to rest anybody? Because there's the potential that, you know, if they pick up a further knock or whatever it might be, they might be out for the Wendy's game on Sunday. You let me know your thoughts down below. But for now, that was Born to be Wilder.
Born to be wild.
Tell.
So let me know what you think. This is closest thing to a tin hat I could find for all the Robinson brigade that's going to come after me now after that. And I understand it. I get it. We all love Jack Robinson and the way he plays. I just think there's better quality out there. And I think he put us in a couple of sticky spots at times against Preston unnecessarily. Just my opinion. You guys have got yours. I understand that too. So Ian says, evening, Jimmy. As fun as this afternoon was, we must now take advantage with a win against Bristol. We need a fast start again and hopefully take our chances early. 3-0. 3-0 Blades. That's really strong. I've seen some stats flying around this afternoon about be careful of Bristol City. Look at their stats against Hull. I haven't got an image of it, but it was something like 78% possession, 25 shots, 11 shots on target to Bristol City, who were at home. But Hull went 1-0 up after 13 minutes, and on 14 minutes, the goal scorer, João Pedro, got sent off. So they've played 75 minutes, 80 minutes, if you like, with 10 men. So yes, Bristol City have clearly peppered them and completely controlled possession. But a bit like we were half complaining about, haven't been able to convert the chances. So yes, they're a good side. Yes, they should have definitely won against Hull with the amount of chances they created compared. I think it were over 3 expected goals. I know some people don't like the XG stats, but over 3 expected goals from the positions they got themselves in, and they only managed 1. But I'm telling you, it's not an easy game, but it's not. I don't think it's a 3-0 game, Ian. To be fair, I think that's very, very optimistic. But we have got enough. We have got enough to beat Bristol City. In fact, I think it was Ian that suggested. Oh no, it was Clarkey, I think, that suggested, if this yellow card thing is right, that Anel's 1 away from missing the Wendy's game or whatever it is, because we can't work it out, can we? I know Jamie Dumpling's done a little bit of research, but is that a time to bring Holding in alongside Robinson to make sure Anel's available for Sunday? Because I don't think that's much of a drop-off personally. Jimmy says, really need to be out of the blocks on Tuesday. Let's get in front and manage the game. Still got to steer Vinny and Anel through the yellow card minefield. Burnley draw with West Brom. Up the full-time Ramble. Would love Burnley to draw with West Brom. Can you imagine how buzzing we would be Tuesday night if we've got 3 points and Burnley have only managed a point? Wow. West Brom and no mugs just took a point off Leeds. And took 2 points off Leeds and got a point themselves, should I say. And also, says Ev, I thought Leeds were champions again. What's happening? They're still on level points with us. They're not actually, are they? They are technically. But we've won more points than anybody else in the league. We've won 2 more games than anybody else in the league. Ricky says, for me, the Bristol game demands more of a performance than the S6 lot. There's levels, and Bristol are up there. And with Roll 1 foot out the door, maybe Plymouth was his parting gift, because he won't want us chanting sausage roll. Fopo's out of contract this summer. We could be on something really funny. No chance, Jamie. He's going to go abroad, I would think. He's not better than Harrison Burrows anyway. I think we need another strong performance like against Borough and Leeds before going into the derby, says Jack. Borough and Leeds, when you mention them two together, it just sends shivers down my spine, because I think back to the first 2 games, Jack. So I know what you're saying. Nige says, hey up, Jimmy and fellow Ramblers. Sorry I missed the earlier stream. Was too good weather to stay in, but fantastic result for us. And not only us, Burnley. Is this the fall from Weeds? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Dem accrued Blades, says Luke. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Harry says, hi, Jim. Hope you're well. I am, thank you, pal. I hope you are too. I'd like to see us play Brooks and Brereton Diaz with O'Hare down the middle. So you're dropping Gus. I think we're more balanced with actual wingers, Chowdhury, Holding and Cannon to play for rotation. You're dropping Gus Aim, Harry. Interesting. -2 and the Hull defeat. Yeah, absolutely. What could have been, eh? What could have been? Could have been 5 points better off. Quality looks amazing, Jimmy. You got a new camera or something? No, Bill, we've got wired internet into the studio, which is a real level up for us. So hopefully you won't have any more. You'll have to see me face a bit clearer. I was saying that other night. Apologies to everybody that gets that, but yeah, we're using obviously the proper camera, but we've had that for a while. I think it's just been the Wi-Fi that's interrupted the actual signal previously. Dublin Blades says need to stop Twine, who shoots from anywhere outside the box, and Armstrong. Yeah, Sinclair Armstrong, wasn't he, from QPR? Nippy young kid, like winger forward. Bristol couldn't beat 10 men Hull. We need to score early and we'll win 3-1. Put pressure on Leeds. Will be third when they play. They'll be third if Burnley win. If Burnley don't win, then Leeds will stay in second, won't they? Because we're going to get at least a point, surely. Hopefully. Can't look past Bristol City. Cooler King says, evening, Jimmy. Good evening, pal. Hope you're well. Didn't read about it at the time. So is the general feeling among Blades fans that 2 points deduction was justified? It's easy to rewrite it now, Cooler King, because a lot of Blades will say, you know, ridiculous that we went into a transfer. That's a different argument. The breach itself is a different argument to the punishment. We are so lucky to escape with the punishment that we did because we argued for that punishment. We argued to get the -2 as opposed to a 3-game transfer, we had 3 transfer windows that would have been banned from trading because we failed to keep up with payments on some of the players that we purchased. So we were set to have 3 more windows that we couldn't make any signings, have any transfer activity at all. Or we took the 4-point deduction with 2 suspended, which is what we've ended up doing. David Carter says, evening, Jim. Love this channel. Thank you, pal. We were not at it today. Portsmouth deserved the win. Anyway, this result has certainly set the cat among the pigeons. May the best 2 win, marching on together. Yeah, absolutely, David. And thank you for coming on and being so graceful about it. I think Portsmouth deserved it today. It doesn't mean you're not still favourites to win it, to be fair, because it's all about mentality from this point on, isn't it? And I think Sheffield United have shown, certainly under Chris Wilder, that we are very strong mentally. That doesn't mean we're definitely going to get promoted, by the way. Scott Parker has Burnley 23 games undefeated. Leeds have lost their first game in 17. So a lot of it is how you respond now to this setback. 1 point in 2 games. It's not championship form, is it? As in like champions of the championship form. But you've shown before that you can be the best team in this league. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to it. Plus, we play Burnley, which will obviously knock one of those. One of us will drop points in that game. Matthew says, evening, Jimmy. What a weekend in the sun. The sun's been out. United win and Leeds having a meltdown. Love it. Think we win again, going 1-0, 2-0. Have you heard any news on Sousa? Hope he's okay. Up the Blades. No, but I believe the press conference is tomorrow because we won't be there, but we will be in with hot off the presser. As you can see, this is our schedule coming up. So we had a ramble on the road from Jord, which were a really, really strong bit of content. If you haven't seen it already, I do strongly advise you go over and watch that because it's a really good, for Blades, it is a fantastic bit of work by Jordan. So thank you again for him for doing that. Myself and Jord then very much enjoyed our watch along today on Behind the Ramble, Portsmouth against Leeds. I am now live, currently speaking about Sheffield United against Bristol City. So from tomorrow, Monday morning, we're looking at hot off the presser. And then it's Hot Topic. That's a Ramblers exclusive tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to try and do an instant match reaction live from Bramall Lane because it's so late, the midweek games finishing, and it's over an hour for me to get home. I have to wait till the following evening to do a 90 after 90. So I'm going to try and do like an 8 to 10 minute video straight after the game so you can get my instant thoughts on what's gone on before we wait for 90 after 90 the following day. There'll obviously be another Ramble on the road, as you can see, on Wednesday, which we still need to find somebody for. So any Ramblers that fancy that, then let me know. If not, I might end up doing it myself. Then we're back on Thursday with a Wendy's warm-up and another hot off the presser on Friday. The watch-along for QPR against Leeds, which again, I might have to negotiate with Mrs. Ramble about. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the plan at the minute. We'll also hopefully be getting a couple of view from the mountains in there as well, because I know a lot of people love those. Fantastic bit of work from Man Mountain as well. It's great that we're getting more people on the channel. Thank you to our Ramblers who support us in that way. And anybody that wants to be involved has obviously got a chance to be involved. So thanks again for that, because it's great just seeing, rather than just seeing my face all the time. Just look at us losing to Hull and how much it's how much you want it, says James. That's right, mate. That's right. Absolutely right. The Saint says Wilder's pet hate. I reckon he feels it's not getting full credit because he's not 3-0 every week. He deserves all the credit in the world. I agree. I agree. Jimmy, 14 victories of 1-0 ain't luck, is it? No, it's not, David, and that's fair. It's squeaky bum. It's nerve-wracking. Is that probably the right word? But it's certainly for supporters. What it does do is it shows how strong we are at game management. So whilst we as a fan base might be nervous watching it, and don't get me wrong, there's still some hairy moments in games where, like they hit the post yesterday, Preston hit the bar, sorry, Sam Greenwood. But we got through the game, didn't we? We won. We won. We got the points. We did what we needed to do. And is that 14 1-0s? Unbelievable. 2-0 against Bristol. 1-1 against the Wendy's, says Walt against the Pigs. Okay. Matthew says, one game at a time. Forget about Sunday. It's all about Tuesday. Completely agree. You've got a ticket for the Pig game. Well done, Walt. Nice one. So has Jord. He'll be doing our Ramble on the road for that. A Saturday team and a Tuesday team like Leeds do. Do they? I don't think they rotate much at all at the minute, do they? And maybe that's played into today's result, but I think you would go with your strongest team, James, personally. David says, if Vinny doesn't make it Tuesday, where does Hamza play? Is there anybody else that can play right back? Well, there's Femi Sariki, isn't there, David? I heard some people maybe suggesting that Anel shifts out to right back and Rob Holding comes into the side. It's square pegs in round holes, isn't it? But at the minute, no Alfie Gilchrist, no Harry Clark. Femi Sariki, we believe can't do 90 minutes at the moment, and I thought he looked quite susceptible going backwards, but I'd still be happy with him playing. So yeah, there's a couple of options. Maybe Hamza plays right back and we bring in, well, Tom Davies isn't fit, is he? Oh, it's a tricky one. Maybe Gus Hamer drops in and Raksaki goes right wing, Ben Brereton Diaz on the left. Some good decisions though to make, isn't it now? Evening, Jimbo, says Scott, hope you're good, pal. I am, thank you, mate. I wonder if he'd risk Vinny if he's touch and go. I think he'll go much of the same from Saturday if Wilder can. Let's go get those 3 points up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, get those 3 points and get back to the top at league. How good would that be? I heard Connor say Battle Lines is cancelled this week. No idea why, says Matthew. Well, long way to go in there because this could switch around really quickly if we slip on a banana skin. And it's not a banana skin. It's a really tough game against Bristol City. But if we mess up against Bristol City and then they beat Millwall, it's as you were, isn't it? So I'm just sort of cooling my jets at the minute whilst trying to enjoy it because you've got to do, haven't you? That's what it's about. Jack says these next 3 games are the ones where if you don't take your chances and sit back at 1-0, it could end badly. But like David said, Jack, we've done it 14 times this season. It could end badly. And at some point we might get a sucker punch. But I'm back to being switched on now. Let's just take it for what it is. Leeds could be 3rd by 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Yes, they could, James. Yes, they very well could. Blades, time to capitalise on this position Leeds gave us. Absolutely right. Matthew says we've got to enjoy this season, Blades, because if we go up, it's going to be a long, hard season. Yes, it is. Let's worry about that when we get there, or if we get there. That's the first thing to say. Jack says we tend to play ourselves into trouble. Femi's strongest asset is his ability to take on his man and bomb down the wing. But we sat back and let them defend. Man Mountain's talked about him potentially being a right winger rather than a right back previously. And maybe there's a bit more merit to that now, isn't there, in terms of what we saw at the weekend. So maybe if Raksaki does start there, Sariki maybe comes on a little bit higher up, a bit like he does with McCallum sometimes. And sometimes he puts Harrison Burrows on the left, doesn't he? So I think there's a lot of different directions we could go. We're still not padded out the strongest squad. But because of the bodies that we've got now, there's a lot more healthy options that we can we can select from, if that makes sense. Leeds are falling apart again. Says action location going very early for a team that's sat above us in the table. Jackson says, hi, Jimmy, do you know if there's any word on Anel getting a contract? Because he's one of our most important players. You were asked about it in the last press conference. It was Wilder, and we're definitely going to sit down and talk to him about it. We have been looking at it. The last I knew was that we were preparing a really strong contract offer, and it would be really strong in terms of what we would normally offer that would suit all parties. And if he signed that, but that was when Prince Abdullah was still around. So I don't know whether that's still the offer on the table, whether that's been discussed and is still being negotiated. Anel will be a priority to renew because he's out of contract at the end of next season. But I do think that the power's in the players' hands these days, isn't it? Ricky says, can you imagine after Connor's display with his flag and song, if they fall into the playoffs and lose out again, man, that would be a picture. Look, one step at a time, Rick, because chef's kiss and all that, but they're above us at the minute. Let's not get too far in front. It's not about Leeds falling apart. It's about Sheffield United getting promoted into it. That's number one priority, whether it's first or second, getting those automatic spots. And we are doing everything we can to do that. And if Leeds end up dropping off, then we can talk about that later. Jimmy, at this moment in time, it's level pegging with Burnley, 2 points behind. Says Michael, Burnley and the Blades still have to play each other, so one or both will drop points. It's all points to a close finish or goal difference finish. It can't be a goal difference finish. Which would, if it's a goal difference finish, and we are obviously the third out of the three in terms of goal difference, then ultimately that people will flip it and say it's because of the -2, because we'd have had, which, you know, is a fair point, because if we'd have had those +2 back on, then it wouldn't be a goal difference situation, would it? So David says, after last season when Leeds failed, there's a chance it's in their heads, and the last 2 results could, I'm saying could, give them a bit of a wobble. And if they drop points to Millwall and QPR, it's on. If they drop points to Millwall and QPR and us and Burnley win, they will be well rattled. The fans will be going off because they were they 5 points clear at the top, 8 points clear of Burnley in third, and look at what's happened now. Super Sharp Blade says, prefer Peck to Arblaster, to be honest. Well, you're not wrong. It's an opinion, isn't it, pal? I think not seeing Arblaster for such a long time and Peck being fresh in the memory and being so strong at the minute in the side makes that a bit of a skewed opinion. Arblaster is quality, absolute quality. But that doesn't mean Peck isn't or isn't going to be, because I've loved watching him this season. Jack says, my worry is, don't start this, Jack, we're positive now, remember, our inability to put away our chances and kill off games. We've talked about this, and the clear drop-off in quality off the bench. Campbell can't do 90 minutes, and Hamer clearly not 100%. I don't think there's a huge drop-off in quality off the bench. I think there are in certain positions, but I don't think there's a huge drop-off in quality. You look at having to bring Vinny Souza off yesterday. Hamza Chowdhury slots in and does a very good job. He's not the same standard of player, but we didn't really lose a ridiculous amount of quality. It wasn't a huge drop-off. I don't think Tom Cannon is, I mean, this is a controversial one, but I don't think Tom Cannon's a huge drop-off from Tyrese Campbell. You know, Raksaki coming on as a right-wing threat for Ben Brereton and Diaz, they're okay changes, I think. So I think maybe a little bit harsh. Jimmy says, Dublin Blaze says, Jimmy, Connor has been spotted in Dublin walking around complaining and moaning about chances they missed and a penalty they didn't get. Connor, suck it up, buttercup. They should have had a penalty. They definitely should have had a pen. I was tongue-in-cheek saying never a pen in real time. And in real time, I didn't think it was. But and he did milk it a little bit, but that doesn't take away from the fact it was a penalty and they should have had a pen. But they didn't get it. And them's are the breaks, or whatever the saying is. Nige says it shows with the statement of the team that it's starting to pick itself now how good everyone involved this season has contributed to. And Wilder and Neely have done a cracking job, and shout out to the new owners. Without that cash spent, we'd be struggling for the second half of the season. Feeling optimistic with the new owners. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Very much appreciated. Still don't understand why Wilder bought Cannon. Waste of money, says Super Sharp. No, too early. I'm not saying he won't turn out to be. I think he will come good. I don't want to keep banging the same drum, But obviously people keep raising the point that they think Cannon's been a waste of money. I don't think he's played 3 full games for us. I don't think he's had 270 minutes on the pitch. And he's already got an assist. I don't think he's had a lot of clear-cut chances. Anyway, that's just my 2 penneth. While the rest of the players with a 9-day break, he'll be resting players for the piggies, says Jack. We'll see. I understand, Jimmy, just like you understand with Brewster with me, pal. Yeah, absolutely right. And we've always been a place for opinions, haven't we, Nige? You know I'm not a huge Brewster fan. So yeah, we get that. Would you go Anel right back with Holding and Robinson centre back if Chowdhury's to go into the middle? It's a consideration, Matthew. It's definitely a consideration. You could also drop Hamer in, couldn't you, into the middle, a little bit more attacking that potentially, with City being asked to be the one to recover the ball more, and Chowdhury stays at right back, and Holding comes in for Robinson. Burton Diaz on the left, Raksaki on the right. Maybe. I know if you're about Isuza's not fit, yeah. Didn't Bristol City do a number on us last time and we were saved by One and Burrows? Can't remember the last game, actually. How did we get on last time out against Bristol City? They're the ones with the absolutely appalling camera, aren't they? Camera angle. So we won 2-1 at Bristol City last time, and it was One and Burrows that scored in the 98th. Oh, yes. That's the one where I'm on camera on Behind the Ramble going, get it! Come on, Burrows! Dicky got sent off on 95 minutes. Yes, that's right. We were 1-0 down. We can do these, I'm telling you. We can beat these. But they're a good team, and now they're in a completely different place to when we played them before. They're in a really rich vein of form. I counter your 10-men argument with saying, yes, they had 10 men. However, it was a striker that went off. Still had the back four untouched and midfield. Yeah, but then when you get it forward, Scott, how do you make it stick up top? If you haven't got a striker up there to hold it, and you're never going to penetrate the goal, really, are you? If you can't, I know what you're saying. It's the least defensively solid position to be hit, but still. Dave the knows. He really knows. Says, I turn on the stream and you have an iPad on your head. World's gone mad. That was me tin hat, pal. That was me tin hat. Action location says Michael Cooper, another clean sheet against City. When you're getting the man himself on here, Jimmy, up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. If anybody can sort that out, getting Michael Cooper on the Ramble, then I will forever be grateful. I think it's quite difficult to get current players on unless I can get in with the manager, which I'm working on. It's a long game. We're here. Don't worry. The Ramble's going nowhere. So if I put in the groundwork with the manager, then I'm trying to schmooze him as best I can. Then we're off to the races then, because he's the main boy, isn't he? Bristol City's reverse fixture was unreal, says Ev. However, let's be right, they were the better team for 80 minutes. Can't remember it if I'm totally honest. Positive Jack, I'm like that a lot though, to be honest. Positive Jack says Anel needs resting so he doesn't get the yellow. This one is definitely a yellow for him. Why does he need rest? So you're confident with Rob Holding coming in alongside Jack Robinson. So why would you not be confident with Rob Holding and Jack Robinson against Wendy's? I think Bristol City are a better team than them. And the league will tell you the same. I don't get it. It's just my opinion, Jack, and I understand what you're saying. Dave the Nose says, play the game in front of you. Hallelujah. Can't be making decisions, putting everything on the derby. Each game is in isolation and just try and get the points. The future takes care of itself. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Davy boy, what a man. What a man. We could rest Anel, and then he gets injured in training on Friday. And I'm not saying it has to be a bad injury, but what if he comes down with flu or something? Play the game in front of you. Correct, David. Sorry, Dave. I know your dad's David. James says, and West Brom drew with us twice. That's right. West Brom took points off us. Good team, West Brom. Are they still sixth? I think they're sixth, aren't they? I don't think Sunday's match will be a big problem for the Blades, says Michael. The Owls are better away from home than at home. Derbies, especially our derby, you can never, ever predict what's going to happen. I can't. Sorry, late joint. Don't be sorry, Ray. But probably being said, but we have to play Holding. He's cool, calm, and assured. Just what we need in our defence. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Ray knows. I'm not risking Gus. It's too big of a game, says Harry. Okay. For me, the front four are Jez, Cal, BBD, and up front Cannon. If we need a goal, we can bring on the likes of Gus and Ty. Why are we resting players against? And look, we're not really resting, are we? Because Raksaki, Callum O'Hare, Brereton Diaz, and Tom Cannon is a great front four for this division. But if Tyrese Campbell's banging form and you've got Gus Amer in your armoury, then why aren't you playing him? Why? And I know it's resting him, but I don't understand it. I don't. Stephen says it's all about winning, and that's what you have done. We Leeds United are doing what we do. Miss sitters, have pens not given, and our goalie is not so reliable. We have more chances. It's winning that matters. Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought Portsmouth, played well today. So you've got to give them credit, but you did miss 2 absolute sitters. Joel Pirot, who I'm told is the best in this league because he's got the most goals, but certainly didn't look like it today. He's got a great goal against us, to be fair. I am being a little bit pedantic. But Melier, I think it's harsh to blame him for the goal. He was a bit hesitant, and maybe that's cost you, but I think he kept you in the game for a lot of it as well. So it's easy to point the finger. But again, a little bit like when it happens to us, fans are outraged, aren't they? And they want to blame somebody when it's not gone their way. So it's a bump in the road for the Leeds fans. It's how the team recovers, isn't it? Michael says, last season from January 24th, Leeds went 16-17 matches unbeaten to overhaul Leicester and Ipswich. Led them to go top with 8 matches remaining, then only winning 3 of their final 11 matches. Deja vu. They've got a good run in, Michael. So let's not... Anything that other teams do or don't do is a bonus. We have to do our bit. Because if Leeds could win 3 of their final 11 matches, well, if we only win 2 of ours, then they're still going up, aren't they? So focus on United. If we win every game now till end of season, we are up. So it don't matter what anybody else does. 10 games to go. Daniel says, afternoon, Jim. I'm feeling great today with Leeds, although not quite the 27-0 like I called. I'll take it. I feel like we'll see the triumphant return of Chief Keith off the bench. I feel he bags one. Yeah, I think Kiefer Moore might make an appearance, to be honest, midweek. Hello, says Gamma. Leeds are falling apart again. I hope you're right, but I'm not convinced yet. I think they've had a wobble, which we are more than entitled to enjoy. Neil says, Jimmy, I'm just looking to get another win, but I would love to have a comprehensive win, 3 or 4-0, as my fingernails can't take much more grinding wins out. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. That is ideal scenario stuff, isn't it, Neil? To be honest, that's what I was talking about yesterday. Having seen the result today and giving my head a bit of a shake, like I was saying, it doesn't need to be a 3 or 4-0, does it? I know it's not great for us to sit through, but I'm taking 1-0 all day long. Joy Division getting a fair few downloads today, says Scott. Jimmy, what if the Blades got automatic and Leeds don't? What'll happen to Leeds in the playoffs, says Michael? Another season in the Championship. That'll be the end of Leeds, I think. 3rd year parachute payments. Leeds will... If Leeds don't go up, like you're saying, that'll be the end of Leeds. It won't be the end of Leeds. It definitely won't. Look, they might take a little bit of a hit. They might not be as strong next season. If they're still in the Championship, they are significantly financially backed. They have got the infrastructure to go on and kick on if they get promoted. But if they don't, then they're limited and they're capped by FFP. I think from the outside looking in, I think Leeds will win the playoffs if they drop into the playoffs. You can't underestimate, though, how much of a morale kicker it is to drop in after being so good all season. I think if Sheffield United drop into the playoffs, we wouldn't do well now because your morale's on the floor after being so close to automatics. And somebody like Sunderland or Coventry who are banging form, might not be in 10 games' time, but if you played them right now, you won't fancy anybody beating Cov easily. So I think Leeds would win the playoffs. But if you ask the Leeds fan, and Connor said this on Battle Lines, if they end up dropping into the playoffs, which he didn't think was a possibility at that time, and I still don't think it'll happen, he doesn't think Leeds will win the playoffs as a Leeds fan. And I think a lot of Leeds fans will, and I can't speak for him, but I think a lot of Leeds fans will think the same. Brand says, evening, Jimmy. Pompey have done us a huge favour today. Leeds can talk about 2 wins against us all they want. I seem to remember them beating Leicester twice last season. Look how that turned out. I think they beat Ipswich twice as well, didn't they? Or they certainly beat him at least once. Tuesday is massive now, says Bran. It certainly is. Certainly is. James says, maybe we go 3-5-2 if no right back. But again, who are you playing as your right wing back? You wouldn't want to play Raksaki, would you? Brereton Diaz, it's too far back for him, personally, I think. Will Bristol attack us or sit in? I think they'll sit in a little bit and try and catch us. I think they'll concede possession to us and we'll have to break them down. But they also have to continue their momentum to get into the playoffs. So I think it won't just be a case of, like, Preston were a little bit like this all game. I don't think Bristol City will be like that. I think they'll be actively trying to catch us. So we'll see. Cooler King says, I was reading from a Leeds forum and a lot of them were saying that Farker shows too much loyalty to underperforming players and doesn't rotate enough. He don't rotate a lot, does he? I mean, I am struggling with the Gruev over Rothwell. But other than that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe Aronson they're talking about because he's not. Since Vinny Souza put him in his back pocket, I don't think he's quite got out of there. Unfortunately, I think he's probably still in Vinny Souza's back pocket. He hasn't really come out since. Scott says Bristol City will attack us, James. They have the chance to get into the playoffs this season. Yeah, I don't think they'll be wallflowers, put it that way. Gamma says, to be honest, I'd rather us stay down as long as Leeds do rather than both of us go up. It'll be tough next season. With them three coming down, we will not be favourites next year like we are now. James says, anyone heard rumours that Plymouth away could be Friday night or Monday night? Yes, we've heard rumours because I know Jamie Dumpling was a bit nervous about it. He's doing our Ramble on the road for that one. It's obviously a huge trip to make on them sort of times. Let's hope not, Let's hope not. Michael says the teams that have beaten Leeds have played exactly the same way Portsmouth have today. High press, giving Leeds no time on the ball and hitting them with a sucker punch. That's exactly what we did first 30 minutes against them, weren't it? High press in their faces. They struggled to deal with it. And that might be the answer. I've heard rumours that Vinny Souza tried to kiss Farker after the full-time whistle the other week, says Gamma. Okay. Westwood says, it would be funny to see Leeds bottle it again and stay down, but in all honesty, I've missed the content between the Ramble and Connor next season. Up the Ramble. I'm sure we'll end up doing some stuff together next season, even if we're in different divisions. But obviously, there's a lot more purpose to it if we are in the same league. And I think we will be. I think we will. Do you think Arblaster and Peck could play together? I think they're quite similar players. But yeah, I think they could. Having said that, we thought Chowdhury and Souza could play together, and it doesn't appear as though yet they've found a way to play together. Never write a pairing off. Never write a pairing off because one day it could click. But yeah, let's say yeah, because if we look in 5 years into the future, if we're an established Premier League club, and it's a big if, that's a huge if. We're not even there yet. But those two could be playing in the centre of midfield for us still, couldn't they? How many who contribute on Blades Ramble said in August, watch that -2 have a bearing on our season come May. That's right, Russ, they did. Really hope that's not the case. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Yeah, we all hope that's not the case, pal. Michael says, with the exception of QPR, all the other teams Leeds have left to play want to play the standard of Portsmouth. Not even Burnley or the Blades won theirs. I just believe Leeds will kick on and get top 2. I agree. I think they will. Cannon's been at 3 clubs this season. Give the lad a break, honestly, says Nige. It's not easy coming into the team second half of the season. Not played a full 3 games yet. It's a huge job up front compared to the middle of the pitch. Biggest positions recognised it. Goalkeeper and striker, end of. So somebody summarised it the other day. I think it was Man Mountain, actually, that said, and apologies, it might have been somebody else. I don't mean to give credit if it's not due, but Tom Cannon has scored more championship goals this season than Rhian Brewster has scored goals for Sheffield United in the last 5 years. The real table, says Dom. The real table, absolutely right. We're still on, for those, Dave the Nose, 102 points, he said. Let's not misquote Dave the Nose. He's not going to say something ridiculous like 104. It was 102. Completely sensible shout from Dave the Nose. I'm here for all the Burnley fans, says John. Burnley are doing well. Always a great listen. Claret's playing well at the moment, says Russ. And I'm normally negative. Edwards has made a huge difference up the Clarets. He has made a huge difference, hasn't he? Huge difference. You look like you've got an attacking threat now. I think you were quite fortunate with a few of your goals yesterday. But they all count, don't they? So sometimes you need a bit of luck to continue that momentum. And a 4-0, you can't sniff at a 4-0 anyway, can you? We ended up winning 1-0, so it's all right me coming and saying I thought you were a bit lucky with a couple of them. But Marcus Edwards looks a real player. So much disrespect for Bristol City. They're a very good team. Let's not turn into Leeds fans, ladies and gents. Yeah, I agree. We can't look past them. People saying, you know, rest so-and-so for the derby, rest Vinny, rest Gus, rest whoever. No, tough team. Higher in the league than Wendy's. Really tough test. John says, I'm not looking forward to playing Norwich with their top scorers. Yeah, but they just draw at home with Oxford. Oxford who have sort of petered out a little bit. I don't think Norwich will cause too many problems for you, John. Dublin Blade says, Jimmy, get Andy the Blade and his contacts in the director's box to sort out Mr. Cool to come on the Ramble. Mr. Cool. Tell him to hurry up with the press pass as well, and Cannon will come good. Yes, press pass. I need to get onto that. I will sort that out. I will. Phil says, hi, Jimmy. If we go up, Josh Murphy would be a proper signing. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. A lot of people have said this, Phil, because, and I know it's now not just a one-off performance. He played really well against us, and he's played really well today against Leeds. I do think he's a bit of a hot and cold player. If you played for you week in, week out, I don't think you'd see those levels of performances. Frustrating. Look, he won't be playing for Portsmouth, would he? Let's be honest. And that's no disrespect to Portsmouth. We say it about our own players. Gus Amer wouldn't be playing for Sheffield United if he were as good as he can be when he's playing at his maximum. Vinny Sue's at same, all these sort of things. When my dad used to say something like, they used to watch a player like 15, 20 times before firming up their interest when he was scouting for Everton. They used to seriously do proper due diligence, and we've seen Josh Murphy properly twice, haven't we? So it would be a punt seeing him twice in two good performances. Michael says, Sheffield United and Burnley, although not always pretty on the eye as Leeds United are, teams that grind out results like QPR last week and Burnley over Cardiff, Leeds couldn't do that, as you saw today. Yeah, I saw a couple of Leeds lads saying Sheffield United win that today. We couldn't. South Yorkshire Police says, hi, Jim. Josh Murphy's dad, Phil Murphy, is trying to make us sign Josh Murphy. I'm not a big fan. What's your opinion? Well, thank you to the constabulary for having their say. Like I've just said, pal, I think I've covered that answer. Leeds did the double over Leicester and Ipswich last season. It was Ipswich Town only at home loss last season. Oh, interesting. L-Dog, good evening. Hope you're well. Says, one thing I can't stand about Hamer is how central he is sometimes in possession. It gives our fullback no pass down the line. Burrows constantly has to cut back. He's not naturally a winger, though, is he? So we've consciously made that decision to push him out wide, and he's going to naturally cut back in. I know it takes discipline to stay out there, and if you wanted him to be a legit left winger, then you would. But Wilder's already talked about it. He don't expect him to be that. Michael says, Jimmy, apart from Burnley, which other matches do you consider Sheffield United's hardest remaining matches this season? I think the derby, for obvious reasons, that will be their season to derail us. That would make their season. I think Coventry is an awful time to play Coventry, but Burnley also have to go to Coventry. And obviously the Burnley game. The Burnley game's the big one. So those are my three, really, that I'm not looking forward to. Bryce says, evening, Jimmy, mate. Going to be a typical Blades fan now and state the obvious that we will try our hardest and cock it up. Let's be positive, pal. Let's be positive. Luke says, I will take whatever the effects of the -2 brings over the 3 windows, not being able to sign any players. Falling into the playoffs is better than potentially falling into League One. Absolutely right. Perspective, pal. That's what it's about, isn't it? L-Dog says, if only we didn't have -2, eh? Means we got to Burnley away without, we can go to Burnley away without losing it. It wouldn't matter if we lost, but I can't see Burnley losing for the rest of the season. So it seems every game is must win. Well, yeah, but if they draw 4 or 5 of them, then it's effectively, you know, we can lose a game and win 2, and it's a better return, isn't it? James says also Cardiff is the Saturday instead of Good Friday means Burnley will be Tuesday at this point. Sky only have to give a month's notice. Interesting. It was me yesterday, Jim. What was you yesterday, Dublin Blade? John says, love your work, Jimmy. Thank you, pal. Love your support. It's appreciated. North says, the amount of ungrateful so-called Blades that moaned yet again after the game because we didn't score more leaves me in disbelief. Guilty. So I'm second in the league as a new team and still moan. Unbelievable. I understand it. I understand both sides. As I said today, I'm a little bit different today, having reflected on it. But in the moment, in the emotional moment of it, and it's not because it's a one-off. It's happened so many times this season. David had the best stat of them all, saying we've had 14 1-0 wins this season. If that's right, and I haven't double-checked it, but I've no reason not to believe what David says, that our goals wins by a one-goal margin, it might be. That is nervy for fans. And when we are so dominant in some of these games, we bossed Preston yesterday. And that's not any disrespect to Preston. They didn't really come to affect us or anything like that. They wanted to be shutting up shop for as long as possible and then try and sucker punches in the last 5 minutes. Well, we scored and that were it. That were their game plan over. But it was just frustrating that we couldn't put them to bed earlier. Having said that, looking at the result for Leeds today, it's a stark reminder that no game is a gimme in this league. No game. So we've done so well. And you're right, North, in grand scheme of things. L-Dog says, also another thing, look at how the owners backed us in Jan. I think some people will be surprised how much we have to spend. If we go up, it makes me want us to go up even more. South Yorkshire Police said, I heard a wild rumour about Chris Wilder last night. Apparently he was seen getting very drunk and disorderly on Division Street. Sources say that things escalated pretty quickly. Could be true. Jimmy, have you got that Blade shirt ready for Connor, says Michael. We'll see. We'll see. John says, Alan Pace's mother has passed away today. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's the Burnley owner. Well, it's a horrible thing to happen. My sympathies go out to him and his family. No Piro, no party says, I think it's playoffs for us now, Jimmy. Why? Why do you think it's playoffs now? Just because you've lost one game and you're still top at league. Jack says, I couldn't believe the Leeds result. Play up Pompey, up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the full-time Ramble. L-Dog says, one big push needed against Bristol City will be a tough game, but if we get the job done, hope West Brom do a job on Burnley, which is likely, as I'm sure West Brom haven't lost a game this season to any of the top four. Exciting. But we need to do our job, don't we? We need to do our bit. Sheza says, evening, Jimmy. I knew we'd lose today and had a banana skin feel about it. A lot of Leeds fans were saying the same, to be honest. I feel it's opened the door up for you and Burnley. However, how do you feel about your running? I think Leeds is the best running. I think ours is the next best, and Burnley's is the slightly trickier than ours. But it's only fine margins. Like, we've got Coventry at home. They go away to Coventry. We've got our rivals away from home. So that maybe evens that out a little bit. But again, although some Leeds fans were saying it had a banana skin feel about today, you can't look at any team in this. Plymouth beat Sunderland. Hull beat us. Portsmouth beat you. Any team can beat anybody in this, and that is why we love the Championship. It can come out of left field. Man Mountain today, again, was saying any of the bottom third who are still fighting for their lives is a nightmare fixture for any of us. So I appreciate Burnley did a real job on Luton yesterday. They went down to 10 men and Burnley smelt blood and went for it. But that was a banana skin as well. As much as daft as it sounds to say that about Luton, who were in Premier League last year, but you know what I'm saying. Dublin Blades says Coventry have to play them Blades, Burnley and Sunderland, I think, back to back, about 30 million for Brewster. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah, got you. That stat about our 14 1-0s was Benjamin Bloom this afternoon, to be honest. All right. Okay, mate. Thank you for that. Do our job, then we don't have to worry about others, says James. Absolutely right. John says he can definitely believe the Leeds result bottle jobs from a Burnley fan. Right. Okay. Still think we have a great chance to grab both hands on that Championship Cup. That would be something, says North. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? Wish somebody would beat Burnley, says David. Me too. I remember a certain Premier League team having a song about 1-0. That's true. That's true. And they're not doing bad, are they? They're not doing bad. They're not going to win the league, but they're not doing bad. Jack says, regarding Born to be Wilder, you've put Holding on the right and Anel on the left. Where did Holding play for Arsenal? Can you talk me through that decision, please? Yeah, he's the right centre half. He's Holding. He's a right footer. And I think Anel is more adaptable at playing on the left. He's a little bit more comfortable on his left-hand side. It's not his natural side. I'll give you that. But I still think Anel on the left is stronger than the option that we're currently going with, if I dare be so bold. But that is our last comment of the night. So thank you to everybody for joining us. For those of you that missed earlier our schedule for this week, I will be back in the morning. I think it's currently scheduled for 10, but I now believe the presser will be at 9. So we'll be on as soon as the press conference finishes. Going to be around 9:30. Then it's Hot Topic for the Ramblers Monday night. And then I'm doing it's on to the Bristol City game. And I'm going to be doing an instant match reaction for that. So nerves will be a jangling, and hopefully I'm a very happy boy bouncing out of Bramall Lane, but we shall see. So for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade!